Have you guys made the announcements, or is it like in the process?
It's done.
Okay.
It's done only. Yeah. You know what? Once you start the live stream, we just get started right away.
All right, we hit 100 people also. Chandan, do you want to give a quick intro of who Aayush is?
Sure. All right. Welcome, Ayush, and hi, Harish again. So, greetings, everyone. Welcome to BlueLearn's events. So, this is that time of the day where you get to meet people that we always look up to. Ayush has been in my feed for a long time, and now since the beginning of 2022, he has been on my YouTube feed as well. So, okay, talking about Ayush has been a content creator, and he insists a lot about badminton in his videos, and I see the interest that's like dwelling inside him. And more importantly, he's an entrepreneur, and there are definitely tons and hundreds and thousands of stories that we might come across today. And this is Aayush Shukla. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thanks for
Chandan.
coming.
Yeah, thanks for the sweet intro.
So
I keep coming onto your feeds for the next 2-3 years.
yeah, so guys, I've been following Ayush for quite some time, and he's super interesting. Like his journey is just incredible. Like the last I remember, he was doing some kind of social media job at some company, and then recently, he started this influencer marketing agency. He moved to Bangalore. He handled some of the biggest accounts on Instagram and on YouTube, and he also, I think, you crossed 10 crores in annual gross revenue. It's just incredible, right? So Ayush's journey is just insane. I think he just got out of college. It's कौन से year में graduate होता है? I think it's been 2 years since you're out of college, right?
In a year, it's been 2020. Yeah.
Oh, it's been just a year. So in a year, he went from doing a job that he absolutely hated, I guess, to starting his own influencer marketing agency, which is doing more than $1 million a year in gross revenue. So thanks a lot, Ayush. I think you've been an inspiration for a lot of us, and it'll be super cool to pick your brains on certain things that you've done. So it'll be interesting to know college के बाद क्या किया था? Like, what was your mindset after college? Were you like confused about what to do? And like, tell us about what you did after college. Like, what was your mindset back then?
Yeah, I mean, I was confused. I was pretty confused. I remember that my semester ended in like first week of August of 2020, and I was just thinking what to do. Right? At that time, I was just freelancing. I did not have anything. I was a struggling creator with like 1,000 followers on Instagram and some 1,000 followers on YouTube. Nothing substantial as a creator. So I was actually quite confused. I was like talking to a few companies and exploring if I should work because I wanted to do a job. Few jobs from here and there which were related to creator economy. So I was just thinking if I should do that. And of course, my podcast was going on, my creator bit was going on. So I was pretty confused. This kept going on, to be honest, for like good 2-3 months. I got bored of freelancing content, but it was not working. So I finally decided to do a job. And this is around December of 2020, January 2021. Got a few offers and then took this edtech, took a job at this edtech company called Surasa, Dubai based. Not a creator company because it didn't work out with a few which I was speaking to. So out of frustration, actually, I just took jo mil raha hai, le lo. So that's what I did as an experiment to see where this leads. In the meanwhile, because of the podcast, but I had a good creative network of folks named other brand network thanks to my LinkedIn and all that. So I just started leveraging that as well simultaneously until December of 2020. So that's how the agency bit sort of started. Anushka knew me because she reached out to me. She saw one of our podcast, and 1 month into the job, I left it. I didn't hate it, but yeah, I just realized that it's something that I don't want to do, and I just wanted to test that. I wasn't 100% sure that this job is for me, but after doing that for a month, I realized that it is me for me. So the job thing was more of a validation. Yeah, I might make a job, and simultaneously the agency was already started. Let's say it was zero. And the clarity was helpful that I don't want to do a job, so I was able to go all in
Got it. आयुष तेरी आवाज अभी भी थोड़ी सी ब्रेक हो रही है, तो it'll be cool if you could like and move to a
Yeah, just
better
yeah,
place.
just yeah. Give me a sec.
हाँ हाँ. Guys, in the meantime, if you have any questions, like, I think Ayush has been in this space where he had to make a leap from doing a job to, starting up. He had to take a leap from doing something on the side as a freelance project to doing it full time. So if any of you guys are in such a situation, feel free to ask those kind of questions. I think it will be interesting to know what Ayush thinks of it and how he'd go about it. So there's a no mic channel right above this stage. Just go there, put in your questions, and we'll take the best ones.
Is it better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. Yeah. So I
Cool.
hope it was audible, my monologue.
It was. बीच में तो उल्टा था, but most things were fine.
Got it. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah.
as far as I'm able to gather, you got this job at this tech company, and then on the side you were having a podcast, and through the podcast you built a network of influencers, and then you started getting brands for these influencers, and that's how you started your startup.
A little bit, but it's not entirely focused on the podcast because when the agency bit started, the podcast was already at like 45th episode. So it was not more about the podcast. The podcast bit was just for my content satisfaction. I was not doing a lot as a creator. So podcast was my go-to thing when I felt like I'm not doing anything as a creator. That's what I was doing. The agency bit was actually independent. Right now, I'm not doing podcasts. It's been like 4 or 5 months. I'm not able to find a home for it, and it's still growing. So it helps with the personal brand bit for sure, but nothing more than that.
Got it. And which creators do you manage right now?
I mean, there's Akshat Srivastav, there's Anushka, there's Finance with Sharon, there's Jay Kapoor, there's Unfinance. Yeah, all these folks. Not sure if you know all these.
Oh yeah, these are, I mean, super popular people. Pretty sure a lot of people know. So Ayush, another question that I want to ask you was, it's so hard to convince someone like, say, an Akshay Srivastava and Anushka Rathod, and become like, hey, I'll be the person who will get you brands. Like, how do you convince and reach out to, your clients, people, and make them sign up for your agency?
It's usually how it works is like you have to agency business or any business for that matter. It's actually sales business, right? You have to sell stuff. Uh, I think that has been one of my key strengths. I'm not a technical person. I don't know how to code. Uh, I know very basic marketing and all that, components, technical skills and all that. So I've realized that my strength is sales. Uh, and I've been able to sell that to be it a brand, be it a creator, be it a teacher, be it a family relative or whatever. So that's actually the core skill set that I have. And yeah, to be honest, that's how it has worked for me.
Damn. So sales has led to a lot of things. What's your, what's that one sales thing which a lot of people lack that you have?
Good question. Credibility.
Okay, elaborate on that.
I mean, the thing with sales is that everybody's selling something, right?
Hmm.
How you differentiate yourself is with credibility, and credibility comes with time. Credibility comes with things. Credibility comes when you have done something. Uh, just sales is not just कि बोल दिया ये कर दूंगा वो कर दूंगा. That's just bad sales. You have to back it up with something, and that's where your proof of work, you as a person, your confidence level, and all that comes into play. So the credibility level. Akshat Srivastava is way more credible than any other, let's say, basic finance creator, even though he has 500,000 followers, just because he's from BCG, Bain, and Insta and all that. So that's his credibility factor. Uh, Good thing about soft skills and sales is that you don't need a degree that you're a great seller. So yeah, credibility is one thing which people missed out on.
Got it. So maybe talking about acquiring the sales skill, right? Let's assume there's this third year college student who's introverted, has like a couple of friends. how can he get into sales? Like, what are the activities that he should be getting involved in so that he becomes better at convincing people, negotiating, and maybe even like lead a business one day?
Uh, I mean, just talk to people. First thing first, the ABC, the A of sales is, you need to be confident with respect to talking to anyone, anywhere. So, yeah, just go out there, uh, talk to people, tell what do you do. Even if you feel that you're not doing anything in life, just वही बता दो कि भाई कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं. Even that, right? That will build up your confidence level, and sales is directly related to your confidence. Even if a sales doesn't go through, the the way you end it or the way you close the rejection or whatever, that also speaks volume about you as a sales guy. So you need a lot of confidence. Be ready to be जो होता है ना कि यार लोग क्या कहेंगे टाइप थिंग और
Mm.
लोग मना कर देंगे that innovations that you have into get over that.
Yeah, I think putting yourself out there is pretty much the answer. Because I still remember back in like first year of college, I was really afraid to like talk to people, like talk to strangers. Like I wasn't as confident. And then in our college, we had this club called Department of Sponsorship and Marketing, where all we had to do was cold call businesses and stores and restaurants and ask them to sponsor our college fests. And I think over that span, I might have made over 200 calls and pretty much got rejected by 99% of them in the worst possible ways, right? तो कोई बीच में गाली दे देगा या फिर कोई बीच में मना कर देगा or someone's too rude. You also meet nice people, but you just get accustomed to the way you should be talking to people on a cold call. Like these are straight up cold calls, right? They don't even know who you are. You have to convince them and build credibility. So I think that training was good enough to sort of become a little bit more confident than what I was back in first year. So yeah, as Ayush said, I think you guys should just put yourself out there, talk to as many people as possible, even if it's someone really credible, right? Even if it's someone working at Google, don't be scared and be like, oh, it's a person working at Google. How will I have a conversation with them? Everyone's a human at the end of the day. So I think finding those common ground and just having a genuine conversation can help you guys become better at sales. Ayush, what's your favorite startup?
Favorite startup. Uh, uh, Give me a bit, bro. I need to think about this.
Chill, bro.
I'm
I'm not going
trying
to tell
to
your
think.
clients.
Zerodha. Yeah, I like Zerodha.
You like Zerodha. Why do you like Zerodha?
Yeah. Uh, for two simple reasons. First is that it's profitable, and second is that it's bootstrapped. And also that I'm gonna meet Nikhil Kamath next week, so I'm excited about that. So that's
Arey
as
wah.
well.
Like
Yeah.
for your business or as a podcast?
The business. Zerodha's Green Matter thing, which funds a lot of these startups. There are clients that just sort of bridge the gap and like I want to meet him and all that. So I'm in Bangalore. She has given me 30 minute slot, just not for the podcast, just random visit of course.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's one of the perks of living in Bangalore. Can meet
Yeah,
Nitin,
bro.
Nikhil.
Yeah.
Who are the
He,
interesting
he,
people you met in Bangalore?
I have met quite a few people, man. Thanks to my work and all that, I meet a lot of founders and as well. So I've met a lot of folks from small case. There's this crypto startup called Pillow. I've met them. Bunch of Misho's brand managers and brand heads. It's a YC backed company. So them. I met Sambhav, Fanpace founder, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So all these folks.
That's amazing. It's amazing. So if you guys don't know what Ayush's agency does, it's very finance focused. It's called Finet Media, and these guys only do finance brands and finance influencers, if I'm not wrong. That's how you differentiate yourself, right, Ayush?
Correct. That's what I've done till now, but probably I'm getting into other niches as well. So till now, yeah, that's pretty bang on.
Got it. Okay. How big is this market? Like, how much are finance brands like willing to spend? Like, if someone wants to start an agency today, like how big is the market? How big is the scope? Because I think Monk Entertainment has a lot of good brands with them. So do you. Like, is there space for another player in the influencer marketing space?
In terms of TAM and all that, not really sure, bro. But right now we're in a bull market. You also need to realize that
Hmm.
there's a lot of funding. There's a lot of fintech funding, especially going on in the
Hmm.
market. So there's a lot of haywire, no make sense wala marketing happening. But
Oh,
from what I have understood, in the next 3 to 6 months, it's gonna be a bad uh, time for marketing folks in general, especially influencer marketing folks, because uh, last 1.5 years has been very good in terms of the bull market, in terms of spends across sectors, across niches, and all that. And because of this speculation that the bull market is gonna end right now, uh, so the company names you mentioned, all that, I spoke to them. According to them, it's gonna be a tough market in the coming few months, or at least a year. This year, probably second half of this year is gonna be tough. But otherwise, if anyone sort of became a creator or ventured into the space, let's say Jan of 2021, they would have been in a good space.
interesting. I think one thing I've realized this year is the number of funding news is decreasing. Like 2021, May, pretty much everyone was getting funded. There were a lot of talks of
Exactly.
hype, but 2022 seems to be slow in that hype space, which
Yeah,
inevitably leads to
yeah,
brands spending less.
exactly. That's what I meant with respect to the beer market coming in or the bull market going down. Because ये होना
Hmm.
तो था. Brands can't keep coming in, and one brand will not
Wahi.
repeat it again and again. They'll do performance marketing again and again, but nobody does
हाँ,
influencer marketing a lot. So in a
correct.
way, it's like it's a race against time, in the sense that भाई जितना funding उतने startups, उतने नए startups, उतने marketing and all that. But right,
Hmm.
I can feel the sluggishness coming in.
Got it. Interesting. Ayush, what's the toughest decision you've made in your business?
Toughest decision. I mean, bro, firing, bro. It's a tough
Oh,
part.
okay.
Yeah, that's not something I'm comfortable with. So, yeah, actually, that, not the business aspect, not the brand aspect, not the creator aspect. That's just part of it. Part of the job. So I don't, and now I'm in a very comfortable space, as in, with respect to stress is my buddy now. So even if
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of tension and there's a lot of haywire stuff going on, right? I was just checking a WhatsApp message on a few brands. There's one brand who's like, I'm crying, help here. And I'm like, ठीक है, हो जाएगा sort, कुछ ना कुछ. So
Uh-huh.
that way, there's no challenge, at least till now,
Okay.
touch wood. But yeah, hiring and firing is one part I don't like. So,
Okay. So, a lot of people say, firing faster is better than keeping a bad employee for too long. What do you think about it? Like, have you fired someone? If yes, then like on what
yeah,
basis? How was it?
I mean, I've not yet had a serious fire wala thing. Uh, it's been more internal, like been more on my mind, how would I say and all that stuff. Now I understand why there are HRs and all that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm also looking for an HR at the moment. But
Okay.
what was the question again?
Like, why do you think firing was hard for you?
Uh, mm, mm, mm. I mean, I don't know, bro. It's just that I've been in a place where I was, confused with what to do with
Hmm.
life and all that. And
Fair.
then there are folks coming in. I take a lot of interviews. Most of them
Yeah.
are also confused, and then I give someone a chance. They don't live up to it. So it's like I feel
Interesting.
bad for them that I can't help them
Yeah.
in some way or the other. The whole aspect is
I think it gets even more serious when you're hiring older folks, right? Like who are completely dependent on you financially. Maybe they even have a family and stuff like that. And then it becomes a huge emotional burden on your end also when you fire them ultimately. So
correct.
yeah, it is a hard part for sure. Even today, right? I think Lido Learning, a company shut down, and the CEO sent out an email to all 150 employees saying, basically you don't have a job from tomorrow. So it's, there's a huge backlash against the company saying, how can you just send an email saying everyone's fired from tomorrow? Because no one knew about it, no one planned for it. So I think firing is definitely one of the hardest business decisions for most people. There's another company called Better.com. I think a lot of you guys might have heard about it. And the CEO just
Crazy.
called 500 employees on a Zoom call and fired them. Yeah.
True. That's just ruthless.
Huh, bro. It's pretty.
It's where you reach after a point of time.
Sorry?
It's where you reach after a point of time.
Hmm.
It's just stress is my buddy now. Maybe 6 months down the line, firing is my buddy. So it just becomes part of who you are. You start getting comfortable with it. वो fear of unknown चला जाता है.
For sure. Yeah. How does your day look like? When do you wake up? What do you do after waking up? When do you sleep?
It's super boring right now. Life before agency was, before the company was very, would say, interesting right now. It's just wake up at like 7 a.m. in the morning, go to the gym, I return at around 9:30, have my breakfast and then session up. And then I sit on my table at 11 o'clock. And once I sit on that table in front of a laptop, I wake. The next time I'm getting up, like free of work, is at 11:30 p.m. That's it. And then I sleep.
Whoa.
That's my day. Literally, that's my day.
Damn. 12-hour work shifts.
Yeah.
क्या वीडियो कब बनाता है?
Video I make on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday. My team, I sit with my team on Saturdays for like an hour to edit and all that. I did this to like an hour.
Aayush, your voice is breaking.
Better now?
Yeah.
So it takes me around 1.5 to 2 hours to shoot like 4 or 5 reels. So enough to sustain a week. And then I go to the next week and then shoot again. So yeah.
Damn.
What about you, bro? How is your day? Pretty sure similar. Is it not?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's mostly like it's very different. Like there are days when I just work 4 hours. There are days when I just like work 12, 13 hours. But mostly it's just calls, in all honesty. But I'm trying to cut down on a lot of unnecessary calls and rather spend that time in deep work and just thinking about, where's product, where's strategy and things like that. Like when do I start work? It's mostly around 9:30 ko scrum hota hai. Like everyone has to wake up at that time and say what they're going to work for, like kya tasks karne wale hai. So inevitably have to wake up before 9:30. So that happens, and after the scrum, we don't really have like a work shift as such. Like whatever tasks you have stated in the scrum, we just need to make sure that we complete them. So for me, it's mostly broader things like, where's the company heading, like how's culture doing, or how are different teams doing. So it's just catching up with those things, and mostly just abhi to focus product pe hai, to that's what we mostly focus on. But yeah, it's around 8-9 hours. That's the work shifts.
Interesting.
So let's take some questions from the chat.
Something.
Aayush, do you recommend people to start up right after college? Like what factors does it depend on?
Factors it depends upon is financial stability you have, bro. You can't start up after college if you don't have money in the bank. So that's number one. If you have a solid background, you made a lot of money in college, sure, why not? If not, then get a job, bro.
Got it. Do you think you'll be in a better position if you had, say, worked at a startup for, like, have you ever had this thought, ki if I worked at Cred, for example, for 3 years
Yeah,
and then
bro.
started up?
100%. Every freaking day. I have zero professional work life experience. I have no idea how to run a company, how you talk to your colleagues and all that stuff. So I struggle every day, not just with communication, but also with the tools aspect of things, right? How do you Slack? How to communicate, when to not, when to do, all that professional work, jazz, and all that. And then, of course, the business models, the structures, things to focus on, the technical things to keep in mind, uh, all that uh, math stuff, which one should look at before. So, let's say if you're hiring, uh,
Hmm.
let's say you are paying someone 30,000 rupees a month,
Hmm.
you should actually look at the ROI also with respect to every month. Is this guy getting me at least 150K, like 5x, 10x, 5x, 6x, 7x, 10x? What is the revenue that is getting me? If that
Hmm.
goes below that number, then I have to fire him.
Oh,
So these are the kind of things that I've learned from a few people. I'm like, what the fuck? I have no clue. I'm just randomly hiring, randomly doing everything, randomly deciding CTCs. कुछ भी हो रहा है. So definitely, even a 1 year or 2 years of experience would have helped me a lot.
oh, really? That's interesting. So you do wish you worked at some company for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think another thing with me is that I didn't get good opportunities. If I had an
Ah,
opportunity from a cred or some company where you know, कि भाई job की बात नहीं, it's about learning, it's having fun with the network and all that. That's a no-brainer to do that first. Because if you're in a startup only, ना तो तुम्हें जाना चाहिए. Get into cred, work there for a year. If you perform good, प्राश ही fund दे देगा यार, funding. So yeah, no-brainer.
that's really interesting. So I think, Ayush is kind of an offbeat guy. He's curious enough to ask questions and learn things, even though he hasn't worked for a company. But if you guys think you're not in such a position, then it's totally fine. If you work at a high growth startup, you'll get to learn a lot of things, right? Like as Ayush said, you can learn a lot about the math part of business, the finance part of business, what tools are used, how a team's structured, and you can just learn a lot of these things. Even I have zero experience. I've never worked for a company before. So the way I learn is also very random. I just ping people working at MPL or Swiggy and just ask them how their teams are structured, how do they work, and sort of learn from them. But definitely working at some other startup for a year or two would have helped. But yeah, these are like pros and cons of being really young and right out of college. So if you guys are not very confident about an idea, then at least personally, I suggest people to either do a job or yeah, just take up a job, and on the side you can have your startup idea as a side project, and if it picks up really quickly, then amazing, right? I still remember one of my friends, Anshu Agarwal. He was working at Cred, and he used to
Blind
ping.
guy.
हाँ, Flint guy, yeah. He used to ping me saying, "अच्छा, मेरे पास ये edtech idea है, मेरे पास ये fintech idea है," and like we were just chatting about few ideas that he could potentially be working on, and just getting on a couple of calls. And then a couple of months later, he quit his job at Cred, started a fintech company called Flint. It's a crypto startup, and then raised $5 million from Sequoia. So I still remember, like a year back, he was still figuring out job के साथ साथ ही he was figuring out कि क्या करना चाहिए side में. And finally he did an incredible job, right? So it's totally fine if you guys take up a job at a good startup and do things on the side. Doesn't mean you have to join Cred. There are a lot of other startups as well. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, credit is just an example. And coincidentally, the guy in my mind also Anshu. We spoke
अच्छा.
from last week. So मेरे दिमाग में वही चल रहा था कि भाई उसने काम किया प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर का फंडिंग वहीं से नहीं है, now he's running his own thing, right? He's so much better off if he didn't do a job at credit and tried to तो रेस करने में इसको 6-7-8 महीने लग जाते.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah.
And as much as, as Ayush said, right, even when you're raising funds, I think at least in the seed round, if you don't have the product out, having a couple of tags helps. Like, hey, now Ayush has a really good tag. He has built a company which makes over 10 crores a year. Now, if he's out there raising money for a startup, he's very likely to get funded because isne kuch ukhada hai. Like, people trust him. He has built a real business, right? Kunal Shah raised a $30 million seed round for Cred because he sold free charge for $400 million. Like, kuch to ukhada hai, right? So people trust them more. And these people are more likely to do well. So same goes for working at good companies, right? Like Fang mein, or फिर in good startups like Swiggy, Zomato. You just establish that credibility, which further helps you during your fundraise. I think recently Tanay Pratap, the Microsoft, and the Maheshwari guy from Twitter, they started Invact. So both of them are from Twitter and Microsoft. So that really helped investors also trust that, hey, these guys could do something. आयुष के लिए और Ayush, what's your future plan with the startup? Like, where do you plan on taking this? तेरा dream क्या है इसके साथ?
Not sure, bro. I mean, still confused.
अच्छा.
Yeah, I'm figuring it out.
Okay.
Taking it one thing at a time, working on a few interesting things. So there's no long-term plan as such, to be honest. It's more about day-to-day execution and taking it from there. There's a lot happening. I'm really consumed with the day-to-day things happening to think about the
Fair
larger
enough.
things. So that's why I'm hiring aggressively. Right? And then first, I have to
Hmm.
hire and make it stable enough for me to take a back seat and focus on the big things.
Are you
So
hiring
each
for
of them.
any roles right now?
I am looking for a editor, looking for a campaign manager. These are two roles, and I'm also looking for an account manager, which I don't think this audience would resonate with. Actually, the account manager is the first, uh, the first preference. I need an accountant who can help me with the finance stuff. So yeah, these are three, four positions.
Guys, if you think you have a little bit of experience here, just DM Ayush, and maybe you can get a chance to work at Finet Media. It's the next cred.
I wish.
Now, okay, you don't have a co-founder, is it? Okay, ऐसे ही मतलब was it a voluntary choice कि ऐसे ही business start हो गया and you never really found the need, or do you wish to have a co-founder?
It was a natural thing. I mean,
Acha.
I wouldn't mind having a co-founder now, but it's too late to get in terms with anyone. So that's the thing. But yeah, I would have loved to co-founder the initial days.
Chalta. You're following the exact red part, dude. Like Kunal Shah is the solo founder as well.
I've not sold a company for 400 though.
All right, I think we can take one last question before we wrap this up. How did you get your first client?
First client. First client was actually someone I already knew thanks to my LinkedIn. So I connected with him via LinkedIn. We knew each other for like good 3-4 months, and then I told him this is going on, and he was happy to be the first client. So I got lucky with respect to personal brand on LinkedIn. So it was more of a relationship thing.
Got it. Okay, cool, dude. Finally, I think now you've seen money, you've seen a little bit of fame. You moved to Bangalore, you're hanging out with like all these cool people. How is your opinion about money changed over time? Like, how was it a year back? How do you look at life right now in terms of how you should be earning and living life? Like, how has your entire philosophy about your ideal life has changed from the past?
Saying this, but it's a biggest cliche out there that money won't buy happiness, bro. I think everyone seriously needs to decide that figure. That strictly decide that figure, mathematically decide that figure कि भाई इसके बाद हम पैसे के लिए काम नहीं करेंगे, इसके बाद हम काम करेंगे to have fun. So I think I've crossed that wherein working for money. You don't need to work for money. So maybe उसमें थोड़ा at a certain level, let's say इतना ज़्यादा भी नहीं, but at a certain level I'm like कि भाई ठीक है यार, इतना ही पैसा करेंगे. So that has been my realization that it has not done anything significant in a year or a year and a half gap. मतलब college में क्या था जैसा था वैसे ही है. Just few things have upgraded, right? I have an iPhone now and not OnePlus. That's the only difference here and there. So इतना major नहीं. I think what we all seek is money, but what we all need is just enjoy the time and be in control of it. I'm not in control of my time right now. It's actually being dictated by the creators, by the brands, by the meetings, by the deadlines and all that. So I'm not wealthy that way. So I feel that I've realized the importance of it.
Got it. तूने तेरे money statement से आधी audience का motivation खत्म कर दिया. But yeah, that's where Aayush has reached. Right now, money works for him, and I think soon he'll be able to figure out his time as well. Thanks a lot, Aayush. Really appreciate you coming.
Pleasure, bro. Pleasure.
And all the best for Finet. I really hope it becomes an next grad once you guys figure certain things out. And
Yeah, bro.
if you guys want to work with Aayush, I can attest he's an amazing person to work with. So if you guys think you can help Finet in any way, do text Aayush, and you guys can work together. And Aayush, like, amazing content recently. Your startup series is like something I really enjoy watching. So keep making them. And yeah, dude, thanks. By the way, Aayush forgot that he had to come here. I had to ping him and ask him to come on Discord. He's out right now.
Sorry about that, bro. But yeah, thanks for inviting. I wish you the same for BlueLearn. Yeah.
All right.
The next academy. Yeah.
Let's see.
Bye, guys.
See you. Take care.